Changemakers, and welcome to The Core, sponsored by Red Apple EdCo. This is your Everything Education podcast. We talk about current events, books to read. We interview education leaders, hear their stories, learn from their biggest lessons, and they share what they wish you knew about what it means to be in education today. I'm your host, Dr. Kia Turner. Buckle up for small seeds of inspiration that can lead to big changes in your classroom practice. Let's take a bite out of today's guest. Hi, you guys. It's Dr. Kia here, still at the Amplify conference in Kansas City. And I'm actually here with George. Tell me how to say your last name.
George Deveney.
Deveney, who is, tell us your title.
I'm the Vice President of New Site Development at City Year.
What does that mean?
City Year is a national nonprofit dedicates taking young people between the ages of 17 to 24, put them on teams of roughly 10, and then they get deployed to schools to support students and teachers.
So you are over finding new partners for City Year in areas that need them most.
Yes. Yeah, I launched City Year in new communities. I'm also a City Year alum. I did City Year in Philadelphia.
Hey, okay.
I signed up for 10 months, and 16 years later, I'm still here. But it's been a great journey, and I've had the privilege of helping to launch City Year across overseas in London, and then also domestically in Denver, Sacramento, Orlando, Jacksonville, Tulsa, Dallas, here in Kansas City.
You might travel more than I do. Okay, I know I'm gone most weekends, but look at this man. He went international. Need to get my passport. Okay, so let's go into question one. Why do you continue in this work? What is the battery in your back that has you still looking for communities that need City Year, has you still kind of recruiting and building these relationships?
I think I'm fortunate to have had a good, solid base for academics. My mother was a teacher.
Hey!
And I always was being pushed to be a teacher, but I realized that it wasn't for me. And I think that that's the important step, is for people to realize that they shouldn't be teaching, they shouldn't. But I knew that I needed to impact education. And through this path of City Year, I've been able to do so. And it's been a real privilege to get a chance to, although I don't get to work directly with kids as much as I would like, I still am bringing resources into schools that need it most.
Hey now. Okay, so number two then, thinking about, kind of what you're seeing in all of the places that you travel, can you tell us something that you're doing right now in your practice that really excites you, something you see happening in these relationships that City Year is developing with these new sites, or maybe in the development of City Year at more established sites? What are you seeing that really gets you excited when you think about it?
I think there's three things that really have me excited. One is how we're able to impact the lives of students directly.
Yes, yeah.
We're looking at addressing simple things like attendance, behavior, math, and English. By making sure that the right kids are getting the right interventions, not just from us, but from other partners in the building. The other part of it is the development of our AmeriCorps members that are doing the year of service. This is something that oftentimes we're seeing them do between undergrad and grad school before they go into their real career, or because they know that they want to experience what it's like to be a teacher but not be responsible for a whole classroom.
Yes.
I think that there's something really powerful with what our core members do and the leadership opportunity that this provides them. But I think the third thing that really excites me is this is the beginning of the teacher pipeline.
That's what I was just about to say. I was just about to ask you, is City Year sort of a low-stakes entry point for people interested in the profession?
Organically. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't a strategy, but it's something that just was happening. And so we decided to actually put some systems in place. And so we have formal partnerships with teacher certification programs across the country.
Okay.
And our core members are the kind of person that you want to have go into a classroom where they're going to be a teacher of record.
For all you principals looking. Okay.
Not only that, but they're going to not have that deer in the headlights look that somebody coming right off a college campus might have, because they've just experienced a year in a classroom where they weren't a teacher of record, but they know exactly how it works.
I love that. And so what was it about your experience that made you decide you wanted to stick with City Year? What was so powerful that you said, I got to continue my work with this organization? If you can even remember, what was it that stuck with you?
A couple things. One was my own experience. I worked at a high school in North Philadelphia. I remember on the very first day, the principal wasn't sure what to expect from City Year, and she gathered us all up and said, look, just don't go in the hallways between periods. And I remember that me and my team looked at each other and we're like, that's exactly why we are here.
Yeah.
And so I just remember that camaraderie with my team. And I think that's one of the special things about City Year. We're deploying a whole team of people to the campus to really alter the adult to student ratio.
Yeah.
So I think that team aspect is something I really liked. The other half of it is really, this has provided me an opportunity to feel like what I'm doing makes a difference. I don't think there's a lot of people my age that get to say that they've had this kind of career. It's been wonderful.
I love hearing about that. So thinking about sort of the team dynamic and thing that really keeps you sticking with City Year, including the impact, what's one resource you think every educator should know about, no matter where they are in their role in education? Just if you are dealing in education, period, here's a resource you can definitely use.
I think one of my favorite things that I hear about, and I'm always so sad to learn that it doesn't get utilized to its full capacity always, is there are so many, I don't want to call any of them out by name, but there are so many programs that are willing to fund teachers in their off season in the summer to go and experience things.
Give us an idea of the kinds of things so we can maybe Google what you're talking about.
That's the kind. It's up to the teachers to present their own case on what they want to go and do. So then now they get to come back to the school year in the fall with a whole new personal learning experience that they get to share.
I'm going to put a couple links in the bio I do of George. He's not going to name any now, but just through my own Google search and not from talking to George, I'm going to put a couple links.
Those resources are out there. And every time I hear about them not being fully taken advantage of by educators, I'm like, oh, I want to do it.
They don't know. Right. They don't know, though. Right. Who is going to tell them if you don't tell them?
You are in the link.
I will get it for you guys. I'm going to have it. That's good, though. I agree. I think that one thing I always say is you can't get better if you don't get out the box.
Right.
If you only know who you know, where you're from, you cannot improve. So the key then to growing your practice as a professional, even if you're a classroom teacher, even if you're a principal, wherever your role is, City Year member, if you want to get better, you go see what somebody else is doing, and that is sure to ignite something in your own practice.
Right. Kick the tires on what works.
Hey, okay, so number 4, what was your last aha moment as a professional? This thing happened and you were like, man, I get it. I see how it all comes together.
I was talking to somebody that I know from my Pahara work, and they reflected on the time that they actually got to interact with Nelson Mandela 20 years ago.
Ooh.
And Nelson Mandela told them that social justice is not an individual race. It's not a 100-meter dash. It's a relay. And each person that passes the baton, each generation in this case, owes it to the next generation to give out the best, and the next generation owes it to the previous to carry it on. And so social justice is not something that can be solved in one race. It's something that's got to be taken as a relay race.
That's hot. Okay, last thing. In a few words, what's one message you want to push out there, either to the educational community or about the educational community, particularly the community serving children in poverty?
Right. I think that what I want to put out there is a challenge that we've heard this weekend at Amplify.
Yeah.
And it's really to be your authentic self and let that show through, because kids can see through it.
Yeah.
You might as well be your authentic self, because it might empower somebody to be their authentic self. And that's the only way that we're really going to have change in this country.
That's hot. So if people want to get in touch with you, ask questions of you, do you have a Twitter? You got a LinkedIn? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah. I'm on LinkedIn, George Deveney.
Spell the last name.
Deveney.
There you go.
You can put that link in the bio.
I am.
And then my Twitter, somebody harassed this guy. Somebody got George Deveney. He got no followers, no nothing. So I'm George E. Deveney, which my middle name is Edwards. I'm George E. Deveney on Twitter.
So they can DM questions, anything they have about that.
Definitely. Love to interact.
Well, thank you for taking time to sit down with us. You are dope as hell, you guys. You need to keep your eye on George and the work he's doing with City Year. Talk to you next time.
That's all we have for today. Thank you for listening to The Core. Wherever you are listening to us, be sure to like our show, subscribe, and share the episode that's meant the most to you. We appreciate every single one of our subscribers, as do our sponsors. We look forward to seeing you next week. You can also check us out on YouTube at Red Apple Edco if you'd like to see more video of these conversations. We have them posted there.